All right. Good morning, everybody. uh, got confirmation that the sound is good today, so hopefully we're all back up and running. But welcome back. Thank you all for joining. And as always, this is Engineering the Markets. My name is Jared, and it is August 11th, 2022. Market was able to move past its CPI data release yesterday. CPI overall came in slightly under expectation. Some of those numbers are going to be available on Trading Terminal, but overall we're seeing a little bit of relief in the market as some economists and obviously market traders are looking at the potential that not necessarily that we've seen the absolute top of inflation, but we're certainly seeing a drawdown at this point in time. And that's leading to a lot of future optimism, repricing of Fed aggressiveness, along with the overall appeal of how the economy is going to move forward from this period of time. So when looking at our trading terminal and coming into yesterday's data, you can actually pull up the numbers that came out. So you want to be looking at things like your CPI, your core inflation month over month, your inflation rate month over month, and then your CPI year over year. I think this is, yeah, that should be all four of them there. So you get your month over month and your year over year readings. You can look at things like your actual versus your estimate. You can also see things like percentage change and just the deviation between what was expected and what was true, basically the actual data. So market was able to break out of balance. We see a little bit of continuation this morning on a slight gap up open. We have a lot of assets that are inherently a bit more risk on starting to rally from this. One that I've been keeping an eye on has been Bitcoin and just the overall crypto marketplace in general. You'll notice things like BTC, USD, just your overall asset is rising at this point in time. And we're seeing potentially fresh highs on the current uptrend, which has obviously come from a bottoming range along with a corrective wave of price activity. Notable that we're also coming into some May levels. The May lows were technically set at around 25.3 for the asset. So if you are trading crypto, be looking at some potential levels to take profit, especially if you're holding more of a trade or a positional swing, which is something that I've also taken part in. Same thing with Ethereum, albeit one of our lead altcoins right now. Lots of hype and anticipation for the upcoming merge, Ethereum 2.0, and just a development branch that will be forked from this point in time. You'll notice that this one actually exceeded the May lows and is continuing through its previous trading range, potentially looking at retesting 2K per token. So lots of resurgence in crypto, very steady trend. You'll notice that every pullback to the 20 period has been bought pretty much precisely on that moving average. It's one of the reasons why I keep this moving average so often on all of my charts. Not because it's always this perfect, but it's a very clear if-then scenario. Markets are likely to trend so long as they're holding support in this area and making new highs or lows. And then, of course, if you start to get through it, you can actually start to change certain trends. In this case, we saw more consolidative action here before the new uptrend. So this marketplace is really starting to offer different types of opportunity for different styles of traders. For one, if you've been aggressive towards some of these pullbacks in the market, you're obviously getting rewarded on those positions. A lot of growth names have made over 100% returns from their lows, and obviously crypto is no exception. Maybe not so much the assets, but certainly we're seeing strength in the miners. You want to be looking at, the typical names like Mara and Riot coming off of lows down in the, sub 5 to 6 levels, and already coming back into those May and April levels that we broke down from. So everything right now is still corrective, but certainly lots of back testing going on. And even if you're evaluating the lower bound ranges in the market, they are breaking bullish. A lot of them have followed through at this point in time. So, couple of notes for the S&P. We're not quite at the expected move at this point in time. I would argue that it's very rare for the S&P not to test one side of its expected move. And last week we did have a sort of mid-range price activity, no test on either side. It's very likely, given the momentum, that we will get close to, if not test, this upper bound. So if you're looking at the SPX, about 42.33 is our more likely scenario, just based on location and momentum. Keep that in mind if you're looking at this as a potential counter trend move. The market may have a little bit more juice left in it for the week. And also keep in mind some of your previous levels back historically for the SPY. The structure here is actually spooky in how similar it was in February and March. Usually, whenever markets repeat cycles, you're often going to be looking for similar behavior, albeit structured slightly differently and obviously different levels to interrogate. But you want to be thinking about the S&P coming off of its all-time high. Let me bring up the Epic Pen here. There it is. So the S&P coming off of its all-time high. We had a very high impact low back in January, which got tested a few times and ultimately started a short covering rally. But before this rally occurred, there was technically a mid-range area that the market had set on the first bounce. And what's spooky about the overall move so far is if we're evaluating the similarities in the market, there is this second wave of selling. We certainly broke down from January and February lows. We bounced. There was this balance range that was put up. And in this case, we did sell off quite heavily again. We definitely broke down a little bit more steeply. So that is a slight difference in overall structure. But you want to be thinking about how these two areas pulled back in. The market traded a bit sideways, a bit congested overall. You could kind of compare that to this period here. And then we're getting our rally. We're getting our covering rally for bears and obviously new bullish intent for the market, albeit it has been more stable. There's been pullbacks along the way, and we've even had a period of flat consolidation. So once again, not everything is exact, but there are some similarities. And what's so interesting about this move is based on previous cycles in the market, whenever we were able to breach the previous range highs, basically peekaboo above, it was actually a relative top. Now, obviously, what we're seeing right now needs to be traded more short term in the moment and with that momentum. But I'm looking at this just from the lens of if then. And if the market does come back inside and potentially set up bearish against our balance range, which I'll continue to kind of keep on watch, then ultimately we could be looking at similar sell signals for the market, similar to what we saw back in March and April. Obviously, not everything's going to be exactly the same. There's going to be different types of signals that we'll be looking for. And I think big picture, even if the market draws back in, that's likely going to be a weekly higher low. Because right now we've made a full reversal off of, this potential sell swing that we encountered, this deeper sell swing. You could also argue that back in March, it was the same setup and the same idea. And obviously the market was able to clear a pivot briefly before coming back in. So remember these concepts. Remember the idea that overall this trend is still intact. There's still momentum in the market. There's still this carry forward that we have across tech, across a lot of risk on sectors. Growth is starting to come off of its lows. All of this fuel and the rotation that we're seeing is actually adding to our momentum. As long as that remains, the market can actually stay healthy for a while. And by healthy, I mean just net bullish. What you'll want to be looking for is cracks. Anything that's going to deviate from what we're seeing currently. Are we getting weakness across a major sector? Is there a new risk factor in the market? Obviously, there's been multiple risk factors this year, everything from inflation to rates to Fed fund cycles to crude and the energy market to commodities and just the overall appeal of what the market's risk appetite looks like. We're looking at a market that's starting to get more risk on. That's been evident in regards to corporate debt starting to come off of its lows. And what we're looking for is a change. Until that happens, everything is a bit speculative back to the downside. There hasn't really been a clear top yet, but we don't want to necessarily go long into high-end points because our risk is very high. We don't want to initiate too high on the rally. And that's certainly what could be happening here as we continue to expand. We don't want to take too much upside risk with the potential of downside pullback. That's certainly what brought a lot of people out of the market during this time. You can see like this false breach pull back in, and then obviously the market eventually made fresh lows. So it provided really poor location to be long. So keep all that in mind as we move forward for the rest of the week. Also keep in mind that it doesn't necessarily pay to be early to any sort of pullback trade. Right now, the risk is still to the upside. There is no top level that we can trade. Market really hasn't said this is the end of the rally. I'm changing trends. I'm breaking down. There's been none of that. All we've gotten are these short-term stall signals, top of the balance range, minor pullbacks coming into moving averages that are actually starting to catch up. You'll notice the 20 and the 50 have crossed. It happened back here as well. Just keeping that in mind in case things do shift. But we're getting similar signals and structure here. The key is, does the price action match? And so far the answer is yes, but we haven't seen the sell. So, just remember these structures. Don't allow yourself to basically forget what the market can do. And ultimately, if we see it, we'll be able to prepare for it and establish trade both to the downside and potentially back higher once the downside correction has ended. So these are all some concepts that we'll be looking at a little bit more next week. We'll also be talking about what's been going around more often during these bear market rallies. Is you get a lot of people discussing how there's some similarities to previous bear markets, massive rallies off the lows that ultimately led to lower lows. You want to be thinking 2008, And there's even some similarities to 2000, albeit 2008 is probably the one that's been referenced the most, in my opinion. We'll look at those similarities. We'll also kind of mirror the price activity to showcase what's been being speculated. And ultimately, you know, it does have some validity, but remember, our edge in this market is about good price location, good risk to reward, and ultimately the signal to initiate that type of trade. For now, no signal yet to go bearish. We're looking more at where's the top or where's the final target for this rally. You know, we're kind of anticipating some levels and ultimately some high-end targets. Okay, so I'm gonna look at a couple questions in the chat. So Banu asked about, is this a capitulation move, the deeper sell swing? Capitulation is usually marked by high volume. I would argue that during this time, this was capitulation in this period. You know, it's the end of a sell swing. It marks a level, and that level can be tested, but ultimately it's a very strong level for a period of time. Doesn't mean it can't be broken. We certainly saw that back in May. This right here, not as clear. You know, there definitely was a strong sell presence here. And even on this correction, a lot of people were still looking bearish. But what you can do, usually after any sort of corrective move, like a drawdown or a draw up, you want to be looking at what sort of highs and lows are established afterwards. Those are the levels that are often going to play very well in the next wave of price activity. So if the market truly was still bearish, that high should have never been broken. And as you can see, when we broke out, back tested, and continued, the bearish argument started to fade, because ultimately, if we're still in a downtrend, you want these pullbacks to lead to fresh lows, even if they chop around prior to a fresh low. So it's all about perception in that regard. Now, being a capitulation long trader, someone trying to find a bottom, you look for those volume signals, one, to maybe take profit on a hedge or a short, and also to initiate an aggressive long. It's very risky. It still has the potential to swing lower, but it can provide some of the best price risk to reward in the market, because you're basically trying to catch a very specific knife. You know, it's trying to catch the bottom. But looking for volume signals at lows or highs is how parabolic and capitulation moves set up. And usually trade will be encountered around that. So you can set up the trade after the fact just as easily. Will you talk about PPI numbers coming out this morning? Probably not. I'll let Norm and Carlos talk about that. And what is volume correlation to this move? I'm not sure what you mean. In regards to like the volume here versus the volume here, or is the volume sustainable of the trend? Trends that are in motion don't need to have initiation volume throughout the whole trend. As long as you continue making higher highs, higher lows, lower highs, lower lows, the volume here does not have to be super strong on every upthrust. You don't have to have breakout volume on every swing high, because you've already broken out somewhere prior. The trend is about moving from a value zone to a new value zone. And in between, you're just going to have price pullbacks. So when you see this lower volume, what you're looking for is maybe the deviation to end the trend, at which point you're going to mark typically the high end of that move, which doesn't mean you're going to make a fresh low. It just means that that move is over. So you want to be careful, like going full bearish at the end of a trend just by volume deviation, because you still are looking for downside targets that are based around support zones. Along the trend, you're going to establish consolidations and pullbacks. But imagine trying to short this just because you don't have strong bullish volume. You've been wrong for a long time. It's better to just let that trend fade or end and look for the trend changes, the actual price-based trend changes. So, and you could argue this volume here, which has been going down slightly, doesn't match what happened here. In this period, we had a spike. That was the breakout of our trend line, this right here. So we broke trend, and then it was a straight up rally. So there was no consolidation, not really. I think there was maybe one pullback. So that whole move was short covering. It still was a long, it still had a trend structure to it. Not on the daily though. I think it was on the hourly. There was like a couple of pullbacks. But, looking for the top of that trend, it required you getting to the high side of a previous bounce. So that's how strong that move was in the moment. And you don't want to fight that too early. You'll usually get blown out at the top. So. Let's see. Gold and silver thoughts. I'll look at that in just a moment. Tesla. And then what would be a good signal to know bear market has ended? There's not going to be a clear signal for that, Julian. You can't do it based on percentage. There's been multiple examples of a 20% rally off the lows that have led to fresh lows. So ending a bear market is something that you're only going to know after the fact. The reason you don't want to speculate too much on investments in that regard is, whatever price the market decides to end its correction, that's going to be the low down the road. We don't know that this is an absolute low for the market. We just know that there are price levels that are more attractive than others. And as traders, we want to take advantage of those swings because they're very profitable. I mean, you can kind of tell there's been sell swings and buy swings. As a trader, you can take advantage of both. You just have to recognize them. But there has been some areas of interest for the market. I think financials have bottomed. Every single pullback to the 200 weekly, financials have ripped. Doesn't mean they can't break through them later, but I would not fight momentum against a bottoming signal in one of the major sectors, which is financials. I'm pretty bullish in healthcare. It hasn't moved much, but it also hasn't sold off. So I'm mostly just waiting to see what happens here because it's really tight. And then you look at tech, a lot of people are saying, once you break trend lines, it's kind of dead for the bears to some degree, but we have to hold this trend too. So we broke trend. It'd be good to correct a little bit and then confirm a new high to really get out of this trend line, not from an underextension, not from a low, but from a healthy corrective pullback, a weekly higher low, something that tech really hasn't had a weekly higher low yet. It's just been a straight rally. There's been no real assessment of support on the weekly. It's just been straight up. So that would be a good confirmation that we're out of this bearish structure and starting to look a little bit more on weekly highs, looking for some expansion higher. Unfortunately, we just haven't gotten it, so we have to trade the rally in front of us. Let me look at gold real quick for YouTube, and then I'll shift to Tesla real quick. Gold's been a little bit of a surprise for me. I had this monthly support already identified, but I did not expect the rally. The bounce here has been impressive. So if you were with us a couple of weeks ago, we called out this monthly support. I mean, plenty of trade could have been initiated there. The thing that I got wrong was going long off of it. I would have preferred to be more neutral until a base was established. And instead, gold just hit that bottom and ripped. So sometimes you kind of get the trade wrong, even though the level is right. And I think silver as well was a bit surprising. Same concept, not necessarily the same levels, but silver, had a very strong rally. And this is kind of what I expected gold to do, just trade flat for at least a week or two. But silver was very strong as well. Same concept here. It's a strong support. You're buying kind of high at this point if you were to initiate a long. So maybe wait for another pullback and then see if you still like these price levels for continuation. Because you get into these moments of strong bounce, but you're just testing the bottom side of a previous low. I would argue that gold actually cleared it. So that's what's so surprising about gold. It's how strong that bounce was. And honestly, I think a lot of it has to do with the dollar. You'll notice one thing yesterday, the dollar sold off heavily. This is one of those reasons why we can't really get too bearish right now, because a lot of our risk factors are coming off the table. Everybody was afraid of the dollar strength until it topped. And now you're noticing the trend change here, the structure to the fact that we keep selling lower and lower. We're breaking trend, and we're also not holding trend lines or moving averages. That tells you that something in the market is changing. And, in this case, it's a bit of a bullish signal for the market. So that's what I think of gold and silver. I'm a very technical and the aspect of how gold and silver trades heavily correlated to the dollar inversely. I would have not expected the strength. I would have been more of a neutral to slightly bullish trader. And, unfortunately, that would have just meant that I missed a lot of the upside. I would have been just capitalizing on that low, not trading the highs. So, okay, so Tesla, last one. Tesla still has the structure of, trying to hold its trend. We talked about this area. This was a poor long for anyone chasing Tesla. They probably got out of the market at this point. Doesn't mean that the trend is broken. One thing that I was advising is if Tesla pulls back, look for the swing high. Now we've held that swing high on market strength. It's very clear, high to low, resistance turn support. Would I like it long past this level? I think it's going to be a little choppy. This right here showcases a lot of back and forth trade, and especially these two little isolated pivots on the daily. They look like this. They're typically going to be tough to get through. I don't care what the news is on Tesla. I look at the chart. I know that there's a catalyst coming. However, this is what the chart is telling me. The chart is saying that that particular trend is structured poorly. And if we ever crack this low, we've lost trend. But short-term trade, you could have been buying that low even for a lower high bounce. As high as this wants to go, it could go all the way to a new high, or it could just reject. I don't know. But I don't like trading into pivots. I don't like trading into isolated pivots. They're built for a reason. So, all right. So with all that said, my name is Jared. This has been Engineering the Market. We do have some data coming out shortly. I'm going to shift over to Carlos and Norm, PreMarket Prep. Have a great week. I'll talk to y'all next week. Thank y'all.
Morning, buddy. You're on mute.
Yes, I am. I see
There
that
you
there.
go.
Hey, good morning, my friend. How you doing today?
I am good. I apologize. I had an update overnight, and apparently it's wreaked havoc on my camera.
It did the
So,
same for my audio the last 2 days. I just want to
okay.
make sure can you guys hear Norm in the chat? Just want to make sure that's corrected.
They can't see us in the chat.
Yeah, I'm turning on that right now. And there we go. Just want to make sure you guys can hear us. Um, okay, perfect. Okay, good. Yeah, that update changes some settings, which
I'll have to
screwed
figure
some
that
things
out.
up. Yep.
I woke up this morning and everything was closed out, and I did not turn anything off last night. So,
Yep. So we got some numbers coming out today.
yeah, we just
Or they're
had
out.
PPI drop, and it was a little bit lighter than expected, which is good news. PPI is, it's the wholesale number, we'll call it, of the inflation story compared to the retail side. The CPI that came out yesterday, it came out a little bit better than expected. So, confirming that slight decline in inflation um, month to month. I'll point out, not year over year.
Yeah.
Things are
Yeah.
still much more expensive than they were a year ago, but yeah, month over month. So inflation either slowing down or chilling out just a little bit, helping the markets pop. Um, Not quite the pop we had yesterday, but still a pretty decent pop. Hey, Carlos,
Yeah.
will you
Yeah.
change it to your single? Do you have the single frame where you can do it on this screen?
Do you mean this?
Just your camera? No, just your camera.
Oh, yeah, yeah. You mean this?
There you go.
Yeah,
That
we
looks
could do this.
better.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, nevertheless, I mean, it's a great pop, especially if you look at the SPY here on the daily. I mean, look at the move we've made. Aside from just the last 2 days, the run we have had over the last couple of days. And again, we talked about this area of resistance here at 416. We're nicely above that now. So that's very good. All right, good stuff happening there, guys. Let's take a look at our gappers list this morning. And if we look here, we got a couple of things in the green, obviously, with the SPY continuing to rally like this. There's some stuff that are going to do very well, and we're seeing that here. VRU, we haven't seen that in a while. That's up 18%. We'll see what that's about. Disney, oh man, you call Disney, man. Disney's just insane. Did you take a swing on Disney? I know you were hot on it
No,
yesterday. No?
no, I
Okay,
didn't.
okay. I mean, what a morning they're having. What a day they had yesterday. And then here we got some other ones. Coin. I see Bitcoins are popping up a little bit. CCL on deck. We'll see what's happening. They're up 4%. So guys, we got a nice list today to go through. And as this data continues to develop here, we'll see how that goes. Gap down list. We got a couple of names that I'm not aware of what they are, but we will find out. So with that said, Norm, any news that we haven't covered in regards to the overall market?
That PPI data that came out was the big data for the day, but we also got initial and continuing jobless claims. Both of them came in roughly in line with expectations. There's a Fed speaker, but not until late tonight. So nothing too special today. Nothing too special. Just Jared did a great job this morning, kind of giving an idea of where we sit. So why are you
Oh,
dumpster firing me?
wait, I was actually trying to hit the like button. Did the like button turn into a dumpster fire?
Good
Again,
as
there's
bad,
some
bad as good.
yeah, there's some funky stuff happening with some of our updates from the last
Jared,
couple of days. Yeah, my thumbs up. I click on that, I get this. So what happened if I click garbage can? I still get garbage can. So garbage everywhere. All right.
garbage everywhere.
Well, guys, give Jared a thumbs up over on YouTube. We appreciate him doing this every single morning. Jared says, "Wow, apparently I am trash." No way, my friend. I am. Now I gotta show Jared. I didn't mean that. Jared, look at the thumbs up button right there. Look at this. Makes no sense. See that? Now Jared knows I'm not kidding. Let's see those how about Norm? Is Norm's little hot button here working? Ah, see? You can't mess with that one.
Yeah,
That
it
one's
still
always
works.
working. And next over here I got a there we go. And okay, at least those two are working. That's important.
You got to rewire
Okay.
that other one.
Yeah, I gotta record that. Talk about timing. Okay, guys, let's get to it. Let's look at our list here this morning. Let's remove the stuff we had here yesterday. Control A, Control X. That gets rid of that, and let's jump right in because I feel like we have a lot to go through. The stuff that we had yesterday, it's pretty much the same as far as it being a strong day overall with the market. If you looked at the SPY, you could see kind of the overall trend, and also there was some stocks that were just very choppy at the open. Let's start with VREU this morning. This thing is up a whopping 18. Well, no, it's changing now. Now 21%. What's the news, Storm? This seems very
Yeah, well,
aggressive this morning.
they had earnings this morning just a moment ago. It literally just popped onto the list. in the last few seconds. So
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to dig into what was said, but obviously they are starting to grow pretty quick. Note the short float, roughly a
Yeah.
third of the shares carried short. That could have some play in it.
Yeah.
So
Very, very good this morning, guys. Typically not a great trader, but today, again, this volume we're getting looks very nice. So it could be one on our main list this morning. VREU, there we go. So we'll put that on there. And ENVX, it is up 17%. Oh, my trade ideas is not linked today, man. It is has been a funky week with technology. Just a lot of things not working properly. Here we go. Let's see if this, I thought I did this earlier today. Not sure what happened. We'll try it again. ENVX, there it is. No, not so hot. Not looking good. No volume. We'll skip on this one. Heading down to this now. This is definitely in play today, guys. Look at the day. We had a great day yesterday. Overall market very strong. But overall, Disney's been having some positive news with kind of streaming bouncing back a little bit here. Disney in play today. Earnings last night, Norm, looks like they crushed this thing.
Yeah, they had earnings last night. They announced some price increases and some different streaming stuff. Parks seem to be doing pretty good, and we'll get to another take on that in a moment. On the downside, I don't think their traffic is as good in the parks, but people are spending more. People have obviously there's pent up demand for travel. We've discussed that over the last several months, but looking good.
Looking good for sure, my friend. So we'll keep this one on here.
Heading down. They got some upgrades this morning as well. So,
all right, looking very nice. Let's look at Mara. By the way, I'm thinking of Netflix. How's Netflix doing? They had a good day yesterday. Not much going on today, but yesterday they did push up a little bit here, so that's nice. Here's Mara. They are up 8.4 this morning. Volume 821,000, which is not bad. Their daily has been doing some pretty cool stuff here. They went flat for a bit as far as volume and the way they trade from what they were doing a few weeks ago. Maybe today we could get something out of this. Looking pretty strong at the moment, up 8.3. And then with that, you have following Riot picking up some volume there as well. And Coin. Coin is usually a little bit more interesting. I'll put both of these on there. We can fine tune this a little bit later as they continue to trade here. DTC or let's go CSSE. Right, so chicken soup.
Trash.
What is this? Chicken soup for the soul.
Yeah, these were the guys that were going to be buying Redbox, and that dropped out. Maybe it looks like they are buying Redbox now. I don't know. It's been on again, off again. This is a low float. Just keep that in mind.
So chicken soup is buying Redbox. Man, this is a beautiful thing. Redbox is halted at the moment, and they are down to $1.65. Man, yeah, careful with that. I'm not touching these things. Let's go over to Hood, and then we'll stop here. It's a lot more down the list, and I'll give you guys a chance to throw some out there that maybe have gone through already that looks good. Hood, for the most part, up 4.4, light volume, and that's usually the issue with this ticker. It doesn't get great volume, and when it does, it tends not to trade very well. So I'm not inclined to have it on my list. I think a day like today, we'll find better things to look at. Let's head down to our gap down list this morning. NVTA down big here, 25%. And this is not a low flow, 224 million. But it is a lower price ticker, so we have to be careful there. Now, a big drop this morning after a huge run yesterday from $2 to $9. We do have shares for short. Not saying that you should be thinking short here. 1.5 millions available in IB. It is in play. I'll add it to my list because it is moving nicely. I just don't think I'm going to trade this one. Just not sure about that yet. We'll see what it does. Sono down 16%, and volume is okay. This is the
Sonos.
Speakers. They don't trade good.
They generally don't. I think I've seen one day where they traded all right.
Yeah. Today, gap down, I'm assuming from earnings last night. And
they had earnings and just like a lot of things that really benefited from people staying home. Think Piton. They're getting hit.
So I won't add them to the list, guys. I think that's just not going to get any better. If you look at their daily here, they don't trade all that hot. Once we get to our usual suspects, we will leave room for those guys, AMD, NVIDIA, and Apple. Here we have Six Flags. They are down 14.8 this morning. What earnings today?
Yeah, they had earnings this morning. As I mentioned, we were talking about Disney and Disney having decent parks numbers.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, Six Flags, no, did not. I mean, Disney is kind of the premium,
Yeah.
expensive amusement park trip that people dedicate whatever for.
Yeah.
Six Flags is by no means like
Nowhere
some of the
close.
ones you might find next to a cornfield that cousin Eddie's going to, but
Yeah.
it is much, it's more middle of the road, and they really had some a big miss on their the amount of traffic they had.
Yeah, I'm sure. Here, guys, they're down 14.8. They're hit or miss. The few times that they've been on our list, I seen even other moderators trade this one, and it can do okay. It's a very, very weak possible, guys. Let's see what it does here.
So Maribah is bringing up that Six Flags does not have a streaming service. That is absolutely true, but Disney breaks out their numbers, and Disney's parks numbers. I was just using Disney's parks numbers, not an example of one stock compared to the other, just the same business segment of Disney doing all right, where Six Flags getting clobbered.
Gotcha. Yep. GSK here. We've seen this
No.
before on our list. It doesn't trade very
no.
well. What happened?
This is a terrible intraday trader.
Oh yeah, it's brutal.
GlaxoSmithKline, massive
Yep.
2 billion share float UK drug maker. So
Yeah, it's bad, guys. So we'll skip on this one. Don't let the numbers here that are flying fool you a little bit. It is a really bad ticker. SNY is another one that trades horrible. They're down today 8.5. So again, not a fan of this. We'll skip this. This is Bumble. What is this? Bumble. This is
so
down
you don't know that because
6.8.
you're married, which is a good thing.
Yeah, well,
app.
I was single at one point. So yeah, I heard of Bumble. And it's funny, they all came out. It was Bumble, it was Mingle, it was all kinds of apps. These things are just funny. But Bumble here, guys, they're down 6.4, 115,000. I don't think we ever traded this because it trades horrible. So no, they're not doing good. So people are not hooking up here. So not a good thing. Meg L this morning down 4.1, 313,000. No. Oh, this thing keeps popping up on our list. It is just horrible. Recent IPO, right? Yeah, recent IPO. And yeah, it's nice to see here. All right, this list and the gap down, not a whole lot of luck. PFE might be a name that we can add to our list. PFE. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. We have a nice drop on it, down 2.8 this morning. Man, look at the daily on PFE. We went from actually doing stuff to these weird, nasty candles, right? You see, it's just all wicks, no bodies on here. If you're wondering what we're looking at, yeah. But the pre-market looks good though. I like the pre-market this morning. PFE also being called out by the pivot alert bot as well in chat. They're hitting S6. So we'll add PFE right on here. PFE. There we go. Okay. Looking good, guys. So far as far as what we have here, not from the gap down list, that's for sure. Norm, anything you like on your list this morning?
I'm still looking today, brother. I'll throw one out at the at the risk of looking like a jackass, because I'm going to tell you right now, the pre-market looks terrible, but Dutch Brothers Coffee, Dutch Bros, BROS, did earnings last night. They're up 7.2%. This thing never has. It usually doesn't trade much volume.
Yeah.
But it might be in play today. If you scan back out on the 1 day, it had massive volume last time it had earnings right there, early May, and actually traded pretty well. Had a large range. Actually, I'm in a swing still from that day in this.
Very nice.
I won't trade it, but it might do something.
Yeah.
So
this is nice, man. Great swing there. And yeah, we'll see what it does. We'll put it here as a possible just because the pre-market is not there yet, but we will be on the lookout for that for sure. Up 7.2, so real nice pop this morning. Okay, let's take it to the room, guys. See what you guys like this morning. We'll start with Bros. Yeah, that was just the one we were looking at, BROS. So that's on deck there as a possible this morning. Michael, Amazon today. You know, Amazon's been good, but usually I prefer to trade to have like an AMD on deck or or an app or so forth. But this morning, Amazon, nice daily possible breakout here. So this looks decent. Good volume, 667 and climbing. Yeah, we could add Amazon today. We can always change if something else looks better. Thank you, Mike. That's a good one. Because looking at anything in the travel sector is gapping up. Yes, let's see. What do we have here? American Airlines. I know American Airlines was receiving some new 787s from Boeing. Let's see if Boeing is popping up today. Not a big move. But looking at American Airlines alone, I mean, their daily looks interesting. We're at an area where we can possibly get going. Not great volume though. We've seen much better from American Airlines. I'll add them to the list, knowing that we need to get more stuff going there. How about CCL? Let's see what's happening there. And they are, oh, volume is good here. So they're looking rather nice this morning, up 4.3. Yeah, same thing. Again, they're starting to heat up. They're there as far as the daily, right? The daily looks nice for a possible breakout, especially on CCL. If you look at the way CCL setup is, we've been trying to get above this since June, right? End of June, we've been trying to get above this area. We had gap down here before, so a whole lot going on just in this level here, guys. Let's see if we can get going. But CCL another possible as well.
These are big, these travel companies, because obviously there was the pent up demand. People were spending a fortune for travel. Anybody that tried to book plane tickets especially in the early part of summer, like prices were 3 or 4 times what they would have usually been 2 years ago. Before COVID, they were just ridiculous. And they've cooled back off because people, they used the money they saved up and bought tickets, and then it's chilled out, especially with inflation. But with inflation cooling and fuel prices coming down, that should help.
Yeah, well, I agree. Prices were just
it's good on both sides of the equation for them.
Yeah. So I got CCL and American Airlines here. CCL looking slightly better. American Airlines looking okay, but it needs more volume. So those two are good there. Let's head down over to Dream Chaser. You're giving us Rivian, one that I have not looked at in some time. Let's see what Rivian is up to this morning, if I could spell that correctly. There we go. Oh yeah, good. Up 3.6, 366,000. Daily looks to break out here, so that's interesting. And we're hitting a nice area of resistance as well. This whole area here got a little consolidation happening around there. So
yeah, looks they've got earnings after the market closes today, and the most recent the reconciliation bill that got passed in the Senate is going to the House. They benefit from some of that. So,
yep, absolutely. I like that this morning, guys. Looking very good pre-market as well and daily. So we'll add that to the list. Heading down, we have Bank of America by Dan. Might be close to the end of their run here. Have they been pushing? So they had a good day yesterday. It pushed up a little bit today, this morning, up 2%. We really need to see it to wait for the market open for this one. Again, I just don't know if I'll keep it on my list with everything else. We even haven't got to some of our favorites, right? And I see some of you guys throwing some stuff out, like Patrick is giving us NVIDIA there. So NVIDIA definitely looking good this morning, 441. That's a great volume already so far. We know we're going to look at AMD, and Ryan, our buddy Ryan over in on YouTube says AMD stands for always my day trade. So that's pretty. What the? I'm hitting wrong keys everywhere.
What in the world is going on?
Well, speaking of,
I'm
gonna take this opportunity. Trade is gonna be on the closing bell. I believe it's this week. I think it's today actually.
Today, I think.
Today. So, how do I take that off? Is this working? Oh, yeah, at least that works. Okay. So Ryan over on YouTube saying AMD always my day trade. That should be a tattoo that Peter gets. AMD looking good, guys. Great stuff here. We're going to add this to our list. What a week for tech issues. And not big issues, just minor issues on our side over here. Okay, heading down, we do have AMD is good. NVIDIA is also good. I didn't add it on here, but you can add NVIDIA. Looking very nice. Let's take a look at Apple, one of our favorites. Apple also, they all just crushing today, up 1%, 2%. Apple's also another good one. See, like today, it'll be hard for me to watch a Bank of America when I can have Apple. That's just my take on it. So I'm going to remove Bank of America. Oops, did not mean to do that. Let's move this down here. And again, I have NV, what is it, TA? as a possible because they are moving, but not sure if it's gonna be a favorite for me. All right, guys, we'll stop here. It's a lot going on. I think we're looking pretty good so far. I'm gonna look at plug because a lot of you guys throwing this out in YouTube and also on our chat on our members tab. Up 2.5, 545. Norm, is this still hot off
Yeah.
the bill and all this stuff? That's just it, man. This thing is
Sector is just lighting up.
ripping.
Again, it was great.
Yeah, I mean,
And then they had earnings 2 days ago, so they're moving
Yeah.
on some of the news that came out there. So
Yeah.
they've just got several things going on.
A lot of great stuff here for plug. We'll add it to the list. I know we have a lot here, but we're going to fine tune this. For example, Marin Coin will pick one, and then the rest will take care of here as well. All right, let's head over to our community events and announcements, guys. Let's see if you know what, I'm going to do this manually. Not even going to hit the hot button because I don't know what else can pop up here that might be suspect.
Oh God.
Yeah.
What are you looking at on your computer?
Oh, dude, I on this computer I do nothing because you never know. All right, let's see here. This should work. Let's try this. Okay, excellent.
Look at that. All right. Guys, don't forget, whenever you want to know what the upcoming schedule is for special events and such, you can always go to variabletraders.com and then click that webinars tab in the navigation bar up top. Excuse me. All right. Every Monday night, you've got Onboarding and Technology with Carlos, 8 p.m. Eastern. That is open to all membership categories, including trial members and especially trial members, because that's kind of where you dip your toe in and learn about the community and how to get set up and everything else. Tuesday, you've got Strategy. That's with Peter. Tomorrow, next Tuesday at 8 p.m., he's going to be talking about his famous lightning bolt pattern. Following week, Andrew's going to be talking about the art of trade management at 8 p.m. Eastern. Wednesdays for psychology. Last night, I believe we had Creta last night, right? Yes. Next week is Randy Howell, 8 p.m. Eastern. Creta's webinar should be up in the Education Center soon if it's not already. Randy Howell, 8 o'clock next Wednesday, talking about unlocking hidden potential of your trading mind. And then the following week is Mike talking about creating a psychology journal. That's at 8 p.m. Eastern as well. Thursday's mentorship. So today, Ed's on vacation out of the country. So I believe it's his 25th anniversary. So congrats to Ed. I know he's not watching, but congrats, brother. You do have 11 a.m. with John and 8 p.m. with Thor. And then don't forget about StockTradingSimulator.com, which is our free web-based replay simulator. You can go to StockTradingSimulator.com, trade 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, hone your trading skills. Plus, you will get homework assignments dropped in your inbox a couple times a week. And really, they're not trying to spam you or anything. It points you in the right direction of what to trade at what days and times and such. With the replay simulator, it's a lot easier to do it that way since you don't have scanners. And then finally, last but not least, if you're watching on YouTube and you haven't been in the chat, you can use that promo code PreMarket24 when you check out with the intro membership. That'll give you 7 calendar days, 5 trading days in the room. It is a one-time payment. It is not a recurring. You're not setting up a recurring payment on that. After which it'll cancel and you have to choose a different membership category if you want to continue on. And if you want to get an elite annual membership, it's official. This thing never went away because we didn't redo this slide, but we brought back the Reed 50, so half off the elite annual membership and a one-on-one coaching session with Dr. Reed.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Norm. Okay, guys, so let's get to it here. We have a decent list today so far. Our gappers list bringing out some good stuff, at least on the gaps upside. And our favorite stocks here doing well this morning.
Carlos,
yeah,
Julio here is asking, are there recordings from the Monday session? It is a little bit late for me here in Germany. There is a permanent one up of that, correct? And then you record it each week, but you don't put it up. But if somebody needs it, they can request it from you.
Yeah. So the one last week, guys, if you guys remember, if you were there, we had audio issues, so it's cut up into two parts. So what I did was, if you need the recording, I can give you the one from the previous week, which is a real good one. It's a clean copy. So if you guys send me an email, I did send you that copy already. But if you haven't, send me an email, carlos@variabletraders.com, and just put onboarding class on the subject, and I'll send you a link to that. All right, so we'll do that today. All right, excellent. So let's get to it here. And the recording, the ones on the website is good, but usually the newer ones that we're doing now, especially at 8 p.m., we go into a little more of the tech things, and we kind of get to more a longer conversation since it's a shorter day now, right? It's not going from 7 all the way to 9. So we do it probably about an hour and a half or so, and a great Q&A session as well, guys. So send me a link. Send me an email. Send you a link. Okay. Let's go ahead, guys, and fine tune this list this morning. We have VREU, and as you can see here, this one again very active today, guys, up 20%, 3.2 million shares traded. So definitely in play this morning. I like the way this is looking in the pre-market. I like the drop it had below previous day close. I like that we went green here, and we're doing it in a very nice fashion as far as the pre-market, the way it's setting up, and the volume is good as well. Daily, not too hot on it, although it's a funky daily. There are some clear levels of support and resistance that we can mark down, and we'll do that in just a sec. So we'll leave that on there. Disney on fire this morning. Hopefully it doesn't get too extended, because if it does, then you start having issues as far as, yeah, that's my email there, Julio, Carlos at bearbootraders.com. It starts, getting too extended. We might have a little choppiness from profit taking at the market open. We'll see. Either way, this is a good one. I expect that you might have to just wait a couple of minutes, 10 to 15, if you do get some chop early in the trading open. So Disney's nice. Mara and Coin, I'm going to pick one. They both look really good today. Mara has more volume. Their daily's a little bit cleaner, especially after this breakout of 14. So I think I'm gonna go with Mara here this morning. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Mara. Looking pretty nice so far. So look at Coin. Coin was at $45, now at 100. This thing can move. If you're gonna choose Coin over Mara, again, just be aware of your size. You do not need to take a big number of shares here. Just make your money on the move, right? Take a decent size and make your money on the actual move. You can get $2, $3 pretty easy out of this ticker here. So at least $2 pretty easily. All right, let's go ahead and remove Coin. We'll keep Mara on deck. Amazon this morning looking pretty good, up 1.1, 773. Now out of Amazon, AMD looks great. And then what's the other one we have here? Where's NVIDIA? NVIDIA looked really good this morning too. Where's NVIDIA? Yeah, that looks good as well. Okay, we'll keep Amazon today. Amazon, AMD, that's fine. And then we have Apple down here, which also looks amazing. So I guess so much to pick from, guys, this morning. We'll keep Amazon. Rivian today also looking very good. I like the way that is setting up. AMD is on here. We'll keep that one. And we also have Plug. It's a 858, so we'll have time to do levels for all of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll do levels for all of those. I'll probably try to reduce this by 1. It's going to be difficult because all of these look really good. And even our secondary list, guys, we got some good potentials. Norm spoke about Bros here and what they got going on. Six Flags is a hit or miss, guys. So we'll see. PFE, horrible daily, great pre-market action this morning. Very clean so far, good volume. American Airlines and CCL, I have both of these on here. CCL heating up pretty nice. So is American Airlines. So both of these, I think, at the market open. We'll see what comes out of that. And then Apple, of course, it could be on anybody's main list. Looks really good this morning. All right, let's do levels. Let's get ready for this. Let's do levels. We'll be ready for these top tickers here. And for those joining us for the first time, thank you for doing that over on YouTube or even in our chat. If it's your first time watching this show, this list up here is going to be our main list. This is kind of like our bullpen, right? It's kind of like our secondary list. So if something doesn't look good up here, we can always move it up. So I don't want you guys to think that we're looking at this entire watch list here. It's way too many. We like to keep the main list around 6 tickers or so. And that's what we're looking at, right? And anything down here is really high risk, low flow stuff. On NVTA is one that's it's not a low flow, but it's risky. It can move very aggressive. So you want to be careful with your share size, or if you're new and not that experienced, you just don't want to trade it. Just don't look at it. Don't feel the FOMO. Get it off your list and focus on stuff that's not going to be that risky. Okay, VRU, let's get started here. Level of the high of the pre-market, 1468. We'll slam a thing right on there. And then above that, we're going to look at 1604. And then all the way up here, 17. And also, why not? 1835, right? We'll put that on there. We're up 20%. So it won't shock me if this thing hits 16 like nothing, the way this thing is moving at the moment. Towards the bottom, we do have an area here between the high and the low of the pre-market. It's going to be 1340, a good level as well. As you can see, we got a lot of touches A lot of flirting happening with that level there. Speaking of flirting, who said in the chat, in the YouTube chat, said Phil, we don't want to see Carlos' old Bumble pictures pop up. Profile pic. That is funny. Good stuff there. We're having some fun today. Towards the bottom, highs and lows of the last 2 trading days, and then all the way over here, 10:15 low off the pre-market. So we are set on VREU. I'm not thinking this thing is going to come back down, but just in case it hits 10:15 and it does decide to become an incredible short, we're going to mark down at this level here. Not a great level, 9:15, but you got a couple of days opening, closing right on this, so we'll keep an eye on that. On that level, MTTR Dream Chaser, yeah, I'll take a look at that. I'm going to put it on here just so I don't forget, and we'll take a look at that in a second after we do these levels here. Disney, it's just so nice. Let's remove some of these levels, clean this thing up. Low of the pre-market 120 on the dot, so we're going to go right there, 120, close enough. And then over here we do have 125.52. Now we're moving against that now. We'll see what happens. I do like this pre-market level here though. If you notice, if you look at the pre-market, and if you were to point out where you see some areas of good resistance, it's going to be here. Right over here, there's 123.25. You did struggle to get above that a couple of times. Then you start doing higher lows, Eventually got the nice little breakout, and you can see a little bit of volume coming in there. So that's nice. So although this is the pre-market high, which might change, right? The 123.52, I think the 123.25 needs to stay on your list because you see that early on this morning, getting a little bit of action there. Let's go to the left, and we are going to zoom into April, May timeframe. And here we have some levels that should be noted. 116.24 is good. Over here, very clean daily level of support there, 130.73. Maybe here too, 127.09. So again, we got some pretty good stuff happening here with Disney. This thing just on fire today. Beautiful day yesterday. Great pop this morning. And it looks like it wants to break out of the highs now again. So let's see how this does here. Next level we have is 127. Some ways out here, but we'll see if we can get up there. Another one that you don't have to take a big number of shares, guys. This thing can move very, very good as well. Here is Mara. Mara this morning up 9.4. High of the pre-market exactly at 18. Towards the bottom, you are set. I don't think you need to add anything else. Mara is looking pretty nice there. So that's looking good so far this morning. Heading over to the left, so we can see some levels above the pre-market high. Towards the bottom, you're good. We're slamming against the high of the pre-market, which is this right here, 18. There's a reason for that, right? Aside it being a whole dollar number, you can see here you got a little bit of resistance happening there as well. A little bit of support when we were coming down, so you did get a little bit of a bounce there. Slightly above this, we are going to find some good levels here. Clearly, there's one at 21. Right, that's a good one there. And then over here, 1968. It's not a strong level, but you got a couple of days, 1 and 2 here, kind of using support and resistance off that daily 1968 level. So pretty good on Mara, guys. I like the volume this morning. The volume at 1.1 million shares traded. That's what you want to see on Mara. When you get this type of volume, it does very well. If you guys remember, we went through Mara. We'll look at the volume difference from July on, right? So right over here, this guy. From here on, you see the increase in volume, right? And some days really doing extremely well, nicely above. It was that almost 50 million. Yeah, about 50 million, 60 million there, 70 million. So when you got that type of volume, you're going to do very well. And then after that, we've been keeping steady around 29 million, 27 million, right? So that's good. Compared to what we're doing before July, we're sitting at 18, almost 20 million, right? So again, just ballparking this thing. I'm not going to zoom into the actual details, but you can just clearly, visually, you can see the difference in volume. This is why volume is so important when it comes to day trading, guys, because we need stocks to move, right? And what's going to do that is volume for you, and you can see that there, the nice move we got there. So, and if you are moving without volume, that intraday action can be very spotty. You're not going to get the nice order flow, and your spread, which you can see here in your montage, will probably be a little bit nasty for day trading and being able to take a decent number of size. So Mara has definitely changed the way it's been trading. Definitely like it this morning. It's going to keep that one on deck. Here's Amazon, guys. The daily looks really nice. A high from yesterday coming up on it now. Looks like that's going to be the high of the pre-market if we can get going. But for the most part, we're just we're shy of it by like a couple of cents here, right? About 30 cents looks like. So we're going to mark down 144.28. We'll mark that down for now. But above that, we do have the highs from yesterday. Heading over to the left, above 145, what do we have here? You can see, wow, this area is going to be, it's going to be nice. Look at this, guys. This area here for Amazon, I mean, you could clearly see the resistance you're having here support a little bit. So that's going to be an important level for Amazon to crack. Here we're going down into the details. Let's take a look. 150.56 is a good level there as well. I don't like this level as much. I mean, it's just 1 and 2 days on there, 147. So again, not a big level. Don't put a whole lot of weight into 147.57, but I think it's worth having on there. Good midpoint between 150 also and 144.16 where the price action is now. But again, not a whole lot of touches. So just be mindful of how much weight you put into that when it comes to Amazon. All right, and that is what we have. And as I mentioned before, towards the bottom, you're set highs and lows for the last 2 trading days. So our chat room is making me laugh here. So this is what we have going on. Opportunities to trade, opportunities everywhere. Good stuff. You guys are having some fun today. It's good. All right, heading back to our list here. Let's take a look over at Rivian. So Rivian this morning, again, ripping here, guys, looking very, very good. Look at the run we had on Rivian as well. Real nice. High of the pre-market at the moment, 39 on the dot. So let's slam a level right there at 39. Above this, we had a couple of days we did peak at 39.30, which is again not too far away from where we're at now, but worth marking down either way. Let's see if we can get up there in the pre-market and retest that. So we have not been up there in quite some time. If we look to the left, we're going to see April, where we had a little bit of consolidation, kind of matching a little bit with that 39 there. You can see that across the board right over there. And if we're able to break out of that, the high level of this range, right? We kind of got into a little range here. The top of that range is 41.35. So we'll mark that there. I think that's some pretty good levels for Rivian right now. Volume good, 479. It's okay, not bad, not great, but it's looking pretty good this morning. All right, so here we have AMD. As I mentioned, we have Amazon, we have Apple. You could add NVIDIA. They all look very, very good. Are probably going to follow what the overall market is doing this morning. 100.56 right now, 156. Here is the high of the pre-market on AMD. Above that, we do have 101. Hold on a second. Let me remove this 99 because we don't need that anymore, since we have our previous day close right on there at 99.05. So let's mark this again. High of the pre-market on 156 cents. Here we have 101.71, very clean levels, and also 103.73. And the great thing about it, you are set towards the bottom. Highs and lows of the last 2 trading days are doing a pretty good job here on AMD. And AMD has just been so strong. Look at this stretch here. Even when they gap down, I mean, they gap down huge on this one here. And I thought, oh, this is not good. They just recover in 2 days, right? They ran up, almost recovered the entire day, plus the gap down, right? Plus the gap down there. And then the next day, they just crush it and break this recent high here. So just insane, a little bit of a pullback as many things did in the tech sector. Now we're pushing up again here against 100. So looking very nice on AMD as far as the daily plug. It's just insane, guys. That this thing continues to find a way to push higher. Right now, 29.56. This whole sector, as Norm mentioned, is just on fire at the moment. Just a lot of good news happening for them. For the most part, 28.09 low of the pre-market. Towards the bottom, you have the highs and lows of the last 2 trading days. I'm going to mark down the top of this date here just to get something closer to the price action that looks like a decent level, 26.68. And I think you are pretty much set there. I like that 26.68 too. If you see here, you have a lot of support resistance happening right on that 668. So that's good. Now, towards the top, if we're able to break out of this 29.56, which we're kind of flirting with right now, having a little trouble getting above that in the pre-market, and I'm sorry, the daily, you can see here, you also have that area as well. That's 29.56. There being a great area of resistance in the past for the stock. Even the few times you popped up above it, you found a way to slam right back down below that 29.56. If we were to break out of that, we have this one, which is a okay level, 30.41, but this is the big one here, 31.82. You have the change in direction here. Look at the rally you had on that day. So plug looking very, very nice this morning after such a great day yesterday. So price is gapping up 2.3 today. All right, guys, big list today. There's so many things you can look at this morning. It's just a whole lot going on. But I think it's going to be a great day. Just keep in mind that some of these tickers that are getting too extended, they might be a little bit choppy at the open. Just chill for a second and let them, let them do their thing. We might have to wait 15, 20 minutes. But as I mentioned before, we see this all the time where we have tickers that, that first half hour, there's just a mess. Then they settle down and they go on this beautiful run. And if you've already been stopped out, a couple of times, it's tough to take that trade again. Your mind is just not, it's not in sync. It's just offset a little bit. So just keep in mind, save some of that ammo to when things start running nicely, which happens usually about 30 minutes before. Not always, 30 minutes after, not always, but we see it all the time. So if you're finding yourself getting stopped out, just relax and let things play out a little bit. All right, we're looking good here, guys. We are all set. 9:11 Eastern time, market time. Let's take a look at our moderators list, see what we have going on here. And I did promise I was going to look at MTTR. See, I forgot who asked already, but I know I wrote it down here. So MTTR for my buddy here, Dream Chaser. We'll take a look at that. So yeah, nice gap up this morning, 21%. Yeah, they had earnings. I saw this on the list, right? They had earnings. Yeah, this is on the list that I get every morning. So earnings last night, I'm not sure about this. It's not the typical stock that I like to trade. It's a little bit lower price. They're getting above $5 now. MTTR, what's the float on this thing? It is 223 million. So it's not a low flow stock, but it's funny. These higher floats at lower price are funky. Their price action is very different than at AMD and Nvidia, and right, our usual suspects, and they're very different than low flow stocks. So it's like they have a weird price action that I personally do not like. So I usually stay away from them. I can't read the price action too well. The level 2 gets funky at times because it is a lower price and you have all this these numbers here in the bid and ask, which is kind of a little bit difficult to read the imbalance sometimes a little bit. So it's just like, and the order flow is funky. So it's just something about these stocks that are higher floats at lower price that is weird, that I personally kind of don't like. So I won't add it to my list. It is in play today. So just if you like the way this thing trades, you can definitely watch it. All right, see, moderators are up with their list here. Let's see what's going on there. Let me bring this over, guys. As I'm bringing this over, please hit that thumbs up over on YouTube. I will hit the thumbs up, but we saw what happened earlier today when I hit that button. It wasn't good. So hit that thumbs up over on YouTube. Let's see how many likes we have today. Where are we sitting at? Let's go ahead and take a look at that. 182. Oh, well, it was less, but it's just starting to pop up now. Thank you guys for helping us out there. Appreciate it. All right, let's bring this over. Our goal usually 250, as you guys know, 300. Once we get to that, we're pretty happy and content. Okay, let's bring this over here, guys. So let me disable the video so you don't get the weird effect. Here we go. Bring this over and close that and make sure I'm not blocking anything. All right, we got a couple of moderators with their list as we're doing this. Also, remember today we have the closing bell. And today we have a special guest, Kreda. Kreda is going to be on with Artie this afternoon, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. So definitely do not miss that. All right, IPOs for today, TGL. We also have a one SPAC there opening up as well. Hammock, whatever you want to say that. Peter, AMD, of course, Apple, Disney, and secondary there's VREU, Neo, and Mara. So yeah, Chris MC, she's gonna be on. It's gonna be great. Cannot wait. So Dima, VREU, Disney, Amazon, and Apple. Megan's looking at PayPal and Roku this morning. Thor loves a Disney, PFE, the spies and the Qs today. And Brian looking at Sono, Bumble, VRU, Tesla, and Mara. We didn't look at Tesla today, but I'm sure with our usual suspect, that's going to be in play as well. All right, guys, we are set. We're looking good. Brian and Andrew are up next, trading live this morning. And yeah, we are all good, guys. So don't forget over on YouTube to definitely sign up for the channel, subscribe so you don't miss Kreda this afternoon. It's gonna be really, really good. All right, so with that said, Brian, whenever you're welcome to come on, I'll stick around until you hop on, and then I'll hand it over to you. And we are good, guys. 221 likes. Oh, we're almost there. We're almost at 30 more, and we'll be very, very happy. Thank you, Hater. Appreciate that very much. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for the great comments, guys. I appreciate that over on YouTube. So thanks for that. And yeah, it'll be good to go. Carlos, don't forget to come early tomorrow for the stories. Yes, we will. We will. I will hop on. We don't have engineering the markets tomorrow. It is Friday. Thanks for reminding me. And someone asked me, can I do a funny story of my trading career so far? And I got a couple of really funny ones, man. The stuff this the stuff you deal with in this business is funny. So yeah, so I have a one. We'll do one tomorrow. If I come in a little bit early, we'll have some tea coffee time with Carlos, and we'll relax a little bit and do some stories. So I'm probably like 8:15. I'll see if I could do 8 o'clock, so we have some time to hang. So yep, let's do tea time. Brian, good morning, my friend. All right, guys, Brian is here. I will let you guys go. Have an amazing trading day over on YouTube. We're going to continue here in chat. I'll see you guys. Remember, 3:30. Make a note. It's going to be Creta 3:30 with Artie. So it's going to be a real good one. You do not want to miss it. Take care, guys.